Well, this situation with Lamar is a mess. Where is he playing next season? Um, I don't know if it's Baltimore. I honestly don't. Um, Now, being a Pittsburgh fan, I'm hoping for one of two scenarios. Either he's not in Baltimore next year, or he drains every single penny he can out of Baltimore. Like, I want Lamar to make $100 million a year. I want him to make $200 million a year. I want him to make that because it benefits the Steelers. If he makes more money, there's less to go around for the team. So maybe he loses Marcus Peters on defense. He could lose Calais Campbell on defense. He could lose Patrick Queen. He could lose Marlon Humphrey. He could lose Mark Andrews. He could lose, some of his offensive linemen. Like, there's a strong possibility he loses his great players around him. Then, say he's somewhere else. Baltimore now may not have a franchise quarterback, or if they draft one, sign one, who knows how he's going to do in their system. They don't have the wide receivers necessary. It's Mark Andrews as the primary target, and what do you have? Rashad Bateman? He's an okay receiver. He's not great. He's okay. He can play. I will say that. Rashad Bateman can play. But what else can he do? So, it's one of those two I want. Either make all the money you want in Baltimore or be gone. But is he playing in Baltimore? I don't know. Is the trust between them gone? Has the bridge been burned? Possibly. Because, Stephen A. has said he talked to Lamar's side. They called him. And he got permission to say on air what they told him. He said that they did not ask for a fully guaranteed contract, and Baltimore would not go above $133 million guaranteed. 133. That is downright disrespectful. That is disrespectful to Lamar. If that is true. If it's not true, it's not true. But if it is true, that is disrespectful. Because you have a young quarterback who has been an MVP. He is your offense. He is your offense. Your points scored without him. When you have him and when you don't. It's cut in half. You score half the points without Lamar than you do with Lamar. He is your offense. If you get rid of him, you're screwed. So to only give him 133 guaranteed, that's not right. You need to give him, even if it's not fully guaranteed, if you're giving him, say, 5 years at 250 or 6 years at 300, you gotta at least give him 200 million guaranteed. At least. I know the past 2 seasons he has been hurt at the end of the season. And he is not able to come back. 2 seasons in a row. I get it. But you are nothing without him. Tyler Huntley ain't it. I remember when Tyler Huntley played a couple games for Baltimore. And he played okay. And, he played okay, but he played surprisingly well I'm pretty sure he's undrafted, for an undrafted guy. And I can't remember who it was, but someone said, if I'm an NFL team, I'm giving up a third-round pick for Tyler Huntley. I immediately said, this guy's insane. He's insane. That is a huge overreaction. Tyler Huntley is not worth a third-round pick. I feel like I've been proven right since then. He's not. I would give up a sixth. And I even said that at the time. I'm like, I'm not giving up a third. I'm probably giving up a sixth. If Baltimore really pushes, I'll give them a fifth. Or I'll give you a fourth. But I need Huntley and a sixth or seventh in return. I need something. I need picks in return with Huntley if I'm going to give you a fourth. So, like, Huntley is not that good. And if you lose him, you should not go into the season with Huntley as your starting quarterback. It will not end well. Now, as far as their situations on what they can do, they could pay him or they could tag him, because you're obviously not just going to let Lamar walk. You're not letting him walk out the door and getting nothing in return. So, I would not do the non-exclusive tag. I feel like you can get more than 2 first-round picks for Lamar based on what we've seen given up for Matthew Stafford, what we have seen given up for Russell Wilson. Like, Russ went for 2 firsts, 2 seconds, Noah Fant, Drew Lock, and Shelby Harris, I think, were the 3 players that got given up. Matthew Stafford, he went for 2 firsts. I think also Denver got a 4th along with Russell Wilson for all of that. Then, and mind you, how much older Russ is than Lamar, and Russ has never been MVP. Yes, he's won a Super Bowl and he went to another, but that was a very long time ago. That was young Russ. This is older Russ. Matthew Stafford, I think he went for, if I remember correctly, 2 firsts and Jared Goff. And the Rams got nothing in return except for Matthew Stafford. And think about how old he is. And he had never won an MVP. He had never been to a Super Bowl. He barely had any, I don't even know if he had any playoff wins. I know he had appearances. I don't even know if he had any playoff wins. So now, look at Lamar. What are you getting? You're probably going to get maybe 3 firsts. You could probably get a second. You might be able to get some players. Like, there are some very, very desperate teams who will give up a lot for Lamar, which is why you do not place the non-exclusive tag on him. If you tag him, you got to place the exclusive tag. Yes, it's $45 million, and if you keep Lamar on the tag during the season, it's going to cost you $45 million on the cap this year, which is not good. That's really going to hurt you because there's nothing to spread out. It's 45 this year. And then if you tag him again next year, it just goes up, and if you tag him the year after that, it's insanely up. So if you tag him, you either have to sign him long term or you got to trade him. Those are your 2 options. Like I said, you can get a king's ransom if you trade him. Otherwise, you got to give him more than 133 guaranteed. You gotta. Like, you probably have to be at least $200 million guaranteed. And if you don't want to pay that price, that is perfectly fine. That is your choice. You got to trade him. That's what you're left with. You got to trade him, and you got to try to trade up in the draft, depending on who you trade him to. If you trade him to Houston, and you get the 2nd overall pick, okay, fantastic. Now you're guaranteed a really good quarterback. If you trade him to Indy, I think Indy's sitting at 7. If you trade him to Carolina, who I think is... No, wait. Indy's sitting at 4. Carolina, I think, is at 7. If you trade him to one of those teams, there are teams in that top 10 where you can trade Lamar to, get their first round pick, and you can get a quarterback, whether it's Young, Levis, Stroud, Richardson. There are a few quarterbacks that are going to be selected in the top 10. I'm going to guess, let me think. I would say Young, Stroud, Richardson. Yeah, there's probably going to be about 4 quarterbacks that go in the top 10, if I have to guess. As long as you get a good spot, you're guaranteed one of those 4. And you cross your fingers and you hope he's a star. And then guess what? In 3, 4, 5 years, you gotta decide if you're gonna pay that guy. Unfortunately, it's just the cycle of things. So, where does Lamar play? I'm going to give an actual guess. He is not in Baltimore next year. They're not going to be willing to budge on the money, and he will be traded. He is going to be traded to Carolina. They're a bit of a rebuilding team, but we know this owner. He's aggressive. He spends money. He would do this trade. Then you got Frank Reich, offensive-minded guy. He can help Lamar. I think Carolina. Especially since the Saints just signed Drew Brees. Or not Drew Brees. Derek Carr. They just signed Derek Carr to a 4-year deal for $150 million. Right now, Derek Carr is the best quarterback in that division. If you can go get Lamar, that really, really helps you. So, right now, I think it's Carolina. That puts the Ravens at 7. With the 7th pick, they could easily get a guy like Anthony Richardson. And if you don't get Richardson, guess what? You're probably getting Stroud or Young. Probably not Young. He'd probably be the first quarterback off the board. So at that point, you're looking at Stroud or Richardson. At worst, Levis. At worst. So that is my prediction. We'll see if I'm right. The only way he probably stays in Baltimore is on the $45 million tag. I don't see a contract being signed this season. I don't think Baltimore's gonna budge on their guaranteed money. So, thank you everyone for watching. If you did enjoy this, please leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Turn notifications on. I will see everyone in the next video. Thanks for watching.